Welcome to the May 17 meeting of the EDIC. Call to order. Does anyone want to make have any corrections for the minutes that I sent out with the agenda? I didn't resend it to you, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But,
You have resent that, right?
Yeah, you.
yeah, I corrected it.
Yeah.
Resent it,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I copied out the first one, but.
Any discussion? Anyone want to move to approve?
Move to approve the minutes.
Second? Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay. So anyone have any issues for public speak? Okay. Planning department report.
All right, bunch of events going on. So we got a state grant for $2,000 to review the industrial and mill-industrial zoning, the requirements, regulations, site plan approval processes, the whole works. Trying to compare East Hampton to the region and getting an understanding of how our permitting is working or not working in regards to those uses. And so we've contracted Pioneer Valley Planning Commission to help us with this grant. We're having a public forum on June 6th. It's a Monday at 6:30 p.m. So if anyone is interested in permitting, zoning, processes, industrial or industrial uses, then you should plan to come to that meeting and bring your ideas or thoughts or to that hearing. So it's going to be a very quick process, and we should have a report. It's just one hearing, and then they're going to do a bunch of looking at the zoning and comparing it to the other municipalities.
What was the name?
June 6th.
So this zoning is specifically for mill industrial?
For industrial and mill-industrial. So it's looking at all the uses to get an understanding of whether or not our permitting is overly restrictive or overly permissive or perfect, and how it relates to the surrounding municipalities.
And at the end of their research, do they actually provide recommendations or just simply?
I believe that they will be providing some recommendations. I don't know the makeup of those recommendations. I assume they'll have a list of, this is too strict, and here's 3 ways you could go about it. And so it's more looking at more than just the table of uses. It's looking at the processes. So if it's something going to be a planned, I guess it's not planned unit, we have industrial district development methods and setback requirements and lot size requirements. And, so it should be pretty thorough.
Good.
And we'll be able to work on those recommendations.
So maybe the Fort Hill situation wouldn't have come up if it was clear, potentially. Who knows?
Yeah, hard to say. But this process sort of started with the Yankee Hill machine, because they were there was a meeting, administrative people, and when they were told that they had to get a special permit to allow their use, the owners were like, I don't know if I want to do that, and so that prompted a sort of like, are we requiring too much? Is a special permit necessary for all of the uses that we're requiring? And so that was the process started, and like I said, there'll be a public forum, and anyone with interest should attend. The planning board is still going through the sign ordinance. It's a standing agenda item. They're dealing with it in small pieces. And that's at some point they will have a full draft of it. They're meeting tonight at 6 p.m. If anyone has any thoughts, I believe Jessica forwarded a copy of the proposed draft. So if there's any anything in there that people feel like they want to bring up to the planning board, that meeting's at 6 tonight.
If I could interject, Dave Gardner said, when he sent his email saying he was not gonna be able to make it, he said, if anyone is interested, he's fine, he has no problems with the proposed ordinance.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not, I think the discussion should be, you know, we can have it here, but it really should be, the planning board's the one who's
Right.
dealing with that
Yeah.
issue, so it makes more sense to have that discussion with them.
Right.
So as far as you know, was the draft that they sent what they've gone through so far? Or,
So
I mean, it
it's-
sounds like they're talking about.
They're doing it in pieces.
Right.
Just because of the complexity of the ordinance, they couldn't do it all in one hearing or one night. And so the process that they've figured out is they're kind of doing a page at a time, to go through the existing and coming up with the language for the proposed, and then Jessica's working with them offline to come up with draft proposals and then bring that to them, so that way they can look at that at the next meeting, and they can respond to what's been proposed, and so sort of an iterative process. So what was included in that email as a draft, there are parts of it that were sort of agreed on and parts of it that were proposed, and it's not done for.
It's a working document.
Yeah, it's a working document. Thank you.
And so now is the time, if anybody has thoughts, input, questions, concerns, now is the time we're not
It's more fun to complain about things after.
later.
Yeah, well, totally.
The horse at the end of the barn.
Yeah.
Thank you. That there's an opportunity now, and you can do it later too.
More effective now.
Right. and so on.
Yes.
And so again, that's gonna be on their agenda until they deal with it, until it's done, so they meet every 2 weeks, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. So, if you can't make it tonight, they'll be discussing it again in 2 weeks, and 2 weeks after that. Let's see, other events, there's a couple of regional events. The Economic Development Council of Western Mass is putting on a developers conference geared towards site selectors and developers who are not necessarily familiar with the region, to make the case for Western Massachusetts as a place to do business and to increase economic output opportunities. And it's really a marketing PR type event, but everyone here is welcome to attend if you'd like. The date is Thursday, June 23rd. And if you want, I can send out a link to the registration to the group once I get it. I don't know if anyone has received any information about it from the Economic Development Council. They've been reaching out to chambers and businesses that are on their radar. So, and there's also a regional State of the Region event Friday, June 3rd, the New England Knowledge Quarter. So if you're interested in learning more about what's going on at the regional level, and that's a free event, you just have to register to do it, and again, I can send out it's on the border, like on 91 between here and Connecticut, Enfield or.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
I thought I saw something about it.
yeah. I went a couple of years ago. It's a nice morning, half-day type event. And, again, it's a PR thing, trying to push the knowledge quarter as a, that from Connecticut to Vermont, including Massachusetts, is more of a contiguous place and with opportunities for lots of businesses, with all the different schools, educational outreach, educational opportunities for new businesses. Yeah. Sorry.
No.
I did not think about that pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it.
Okay. Dr. Pete, thank you. Do you have anything for?
Denise did not send me anything, I think because there were two issues. They're working on interviewing the new replacement for Burns. So I think there was a lot of discussion of that, plus they also had a hatch grant that they were voting on, and being that I was an applicant for it and got it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Good for you.
so, yeah, it's, gonna be doing a jazz festival at Eastworks in probably first week in March. First
Oh,
week
that's
in March.
March next year.
Yep, next week.
Great.
Yeah, so,
Good for you.
yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any idea how the search process?
I know they did, and when I spoke to Marsha Morrison, they interviewed 2 and had 1 more they were gonna be interviewing.
So actually, the person that's been hired.
Oh, good.
Has been hired, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I think she's been hired.
Okay.
She's been selected.
So it's a negotiation?
I believe that she accepted.
Oh,
Cool.
Okay.
So I got an email this morning
Oh,
from Jessica.
good.
Someone we know.
I don't know who you know.
Is it a local person?
Something you can share?
I'm sure that when
That
in
time.
that time,
Yeah.
it won't be me that's making the
Yeah.
Okay,
announcement.
okay.
But
That's
that,
good to hear.
but that
Yeah,
person
that is, yeah.
That's good.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
I just want to add, cultural chaos, everyone knows
Yes.
about it, but.
Oh, yes, the cultural chaos, yeah, which is still happening.
It's happening.
Happening, yes, and,
Actually, a lot of people have really,
Stepped up.
initially there was a panic.
I'm sure.
When Mary said that she was leaving, but people are really stepping up.
That's good.
We're meeting every week now. It used to be we'd meet once a month. And about 3 weeks ago, we started meeting every 2 weeks. And now it's every week until the event.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a great event.
Yeah.
It really is. It's gonna
Well,
be
it
a
got
lot
better
of
every year.
exciting
Yeah.
stuff. I will not be there, but I'm pushing up until the time I leave right beforehand. So we're gonna have 5 additional food vendors. 4 of them actually in physical tents down towards the bottom of the street, and a 5th a group who sell gourmet popsicles with like a bike thing, with you riding up and down the thing. So, yeah, and there's gonna be a circus trapeze act out in front of Jimmy's, in the triangle there in front of the Brass Cat. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be chaotic.
yeah, it's gonna be chaotic.
Yes.
As it should be.
Good and chaotic, yeah. Okay, moving on, May cleanup day recap. Well, this, you know the story. Some of you guys were there, it was great, thank you very much.
I was in Las Vegas, I have no excuses.
We did not have a good turnout at all. I think a lot of that is because of the weather. It was pretty gloomy that day. And some of it is, we may have assumed that others of us were reaching out to groups, and I think that's where I dropped the ball this year. Is because I remember last year reaching out to Big Y, and I know Gail reached out to the East Hampton High School, and I don't think we really did that this year, so we were just kind of depending. And I noticed that Barbara LeBombard had really reached out, and at one point I went down to the rail trail, and it was crawling with people.
Yes,
They got that lickety-split.
yeah, they did.
So
They did.
we were able to, for those of you guys who were there, thank you very, very much. We did get all the trees mulched and fed, and we did get the parking lot across from Amy's cleaned up and pretty well mulched. I think there's a lot of weeding that needs to be done next year before we.
Yeah, well, it was pretty bad, yeah, because I got all the trash out and I raked all the crap that was there, but there was a lot of vines growing on the, Yeah, needed some clipping back, but it looks better.
Mike and I were a little disappointed we couldn't use the blowers because everything was so wet,
Wet,
never went
yeah.
anywhere.
Well, that's the trouble,
Because
yeah.
We usually get a chance to leave it light dusting all the cars on Main Street, so.
Yeah, I needed a
Maybe
steel
that
rake
kind of blast.
instead of a regular
Exactly.
rake, because nothing was.
Exactly, so we swept a lot of it by hand, but
Yeah.
it all came out good.
Yeah.
So, next year, we talked a little bit fleetingly about not doing this anymore. You and I did that day, but.
No, I thought it was more a discussion of the chamber just not taking the lead, as
Well,
opposed
we
to
were
not.
just, we were responding to the lack of
Yeah,
help that we had
Yeah.
that day.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, but-
I think there could have been a couple of things like Josh said, but primarily was, I mean, we were getting soaked out there. It was wet enough early enough in the morning that it wasn't fun anymore once you get soaking wet, so. It was probably enough to keep
Mm.
families with kids. away.
Yes.
But,
Probably.
I had forgotten, I think it was Jamie that brought it up and said that somebody commented on Facebook about the timing of the event, but it's from time and eternity, it's been the first Saturday in
Yeah.
May, so
Yeah,
I don't
that's-
know.
No, it was more,
That's
it was not the time of month, it was the time of day.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Okay.
No, I,
There
Time
were
of
people
day.
wanting to do it
Later in the
and,
day, okay.
You know, and that's not the event that was happening.
no, because the
But-
parking
but-
lots are filled up, it was
Yeah.
hard enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we talked about that.
We addressed that briefly last month, and
Yeah.
it's not gonna,
Yeah.
well, we're not gonna change that aspect of
Yeah.
it, just because it wouldn't work, it would be worse,
Good.
so.
So when you say these people reached out to,
Other groups.
you know, just personally, they were contacting people to see if they would be
Contacting
willing
groups
to.
of people.
Right.
See, that's why, when the mayor last year, as I was coming out of Big Y, she said, hey, by the way, people in here, they're interested, so you should go and talk to them. So I turned back around, I went in, and I said, oh, yeah, we got a bunch of people there. It was great, but I didn't do that this year. And Gail, granted, Gail had some things going on in her family that I understand she wouldn't want to take the time away to do it. But in the past, she has been able to put in a plug at the high school
And get kids, yeah.
and get
Well,
kids down
I
there.
think that's a good idea, but I think it still is worth spending a couple bucks to get some flyers made and,
There was a big. ad.
posting them
Yeah,
on.
there was a big ad.
There was a full page ad in the Gazette.
Yeah,
Gazette.
it was, yeah. Of course, how many of these will actually
So what?
want the Gazette these days?
Is a tree falling trying to make a sound? I mean, is it?
Yeah, I know,
Gazette?
please.
So, okay, so we have flyers, and then we need to be able, we need to put them out.
Well,
Yeah.
it gets down to elbow grease.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. And we may be able to do that without spending a lot of money.
Yeah, we could probably
We
get
could.
Puffer to donate some
Yeah.
flyers.
Or
We could just
photocopy them here.
photocopy.
Yeah,
That-
photocopy
that's not
is
good,
easy
so we
enough.
can do that.
It's getting them put
I
out.
don't, we can do that.
Yeah.
too.
I'm not,
Photocopy
opposed-
every paper, we just need people to put them out.
Yeah.
People power, yeah.
I'm not opposed to taking a hiatus too. So sometimes when you're missed, you're
Then you're
appreciated.
missed.
No, you're
Yeah.
appreciated. Sometimes, I mean, you know, I'm on the fence. I didn't participate this year, but I don't see a reason to beat a dead horse sometimes.
I mean, one of the good problems we've had is there is less and less to do
Yeah.
every year.
Mhm.
And that's kind of been a good problem to have.
Yes.
I guess if you took a year off, as long as you didn't lose the organizational structure of it,
That is a fear.
you'd have more to do the second year.
Yeah.
So if you did this every other year, so rather than saying we're taking a hiatus, we're gonna restructure this to do it every other year. And so 2017 is the other. So we'll be back in 18 with it.
Mhm.
So we'll do it every even year or something.
Mhm.
I do want to put it out there that the businesses that I spoke to were very appreciative, both Tandem and Mike Superson and the people at Small Island are
Yeah.
very appreciative that we do it.
Right.
But let's consider that, we don't have to make a decision now.
I did want to say, I thought it was, there might be opportunities to work with the Manhattan Rail Trail Group or the Rod and Gun Club, because I know they've done cleanups in the Haslam Circle all in the same day, but if next year, you know, there's an opportunity to.
Well, Manhattan did do it on the same day.
Right,
Yeah.
but there was, so there's like it's the same idea, but it's different organizations.
Right,
And so
we
that
reach out to
maybe-
more groups.
Well, I think, Jamie, the organizations just had a little bit different focus. So Manhattan was concentrating on rail trail, Rod and gun club was concentrating around the pond, and then all the rest of us just did sort of the downtown. So each group came to the table with their own particular focus.
But that's
I
not
guess
how
what
it
I'm-
started though. At one time, those groups were
Part of the whole
participating.
thing, right?
Then they've kind of like,
Broken off.
yeah, they're still gonna do
Yeah.
their thing.
Whether we do ours or not.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm getting at is there might be opportunities to reach out and be more collaborative with those groups
Yes.
next year.
Yes.
So that way,
Kinda what I was
so
getting
that
at.
way, the information that we're putting out has not just the chamber, but also Manhattan Rail Trail and
Mhm.
Rottingham Club, and that, and so
Mhm.
that each event.
Is represented on the.
So
on
that
the
way,
map.
yeah, and so there's just more, you know, if someone shows up at the rail trail, at least they know, oh, well, we have too many people, why don't you go and see if the, you know, downtown group needs some help, or
Well,
Rottingham.
they did that.
So did you say somebody reached out to the high school
I'm just-
and
yeah,
sports
yeah,
teams and
yeah.
stuff? I'm
Not
just
this
thinking
year.
about the
Not this year.
fireworks. You know, they always have the
Also
soccer
finding
team come out and
businesses.
clean the fields, and they got it done in no time.
Right.
Well, we have in the past, we did it this year.
And when it comes to the sports teams and stuff, basically, it's the coach saying, hey.
We're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
go
so
further.
next year, if we decide to do it next year, we will definitely reach out to more groups. And whether we can have the discussions, whether or not we want to have those groups be considered co-sponsors or not.
I have a question
Yes.
regarding what Jimmy just brought up. If Manhattan Rail Trail folks were doing their cleanup, why aren't they included on, I mean, they were using, they met us in the morning and they were
Mhm.
using our, not the equipment and the materials that were there. So why is it separate?
I thought
Well-
it was an oversight that it was separate.
They paid for their own mulch.
There's a little
Am I
one-sidedness
confused?
to that group.
Sorry?
There's a little bit of self-centeredness to that group.
Okay.
Well,
This is the way it is.
I take care of mine, you take care of yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, the end of it.
Yeah, but they took our garbage.
Oh, they
And
did?
I was fine with it, that doesn't matter to me, but I
Oh,
mean.
okay, well, yeah, okay, so I knew they paid for their own mulch, but I didn't know that they were taking supplies as well.
I believe so, yeah, there were shoes
Well,
there. in the
we'll,
morning.
we'll redress that then.
I mean, I don't, we could put their logo, I don't care.
Yeah. What I was
Should be,
hoping is though
if
is
they're part of
that
it.
they finished so quickly, that I was hoping
Mhm.
some of them would come and help us, and that didn't work out,
Well,
unfortunately.
that's a singular focus.
And that's, but that's also speaking to.
Communication.
The communication
Yeah.
and collaboration of making it not just, you know, the
Silo.
downtown,
Yeah.
not just the downtown, and then separately the Manhattan Rail Trail, and
Right.
separately the Rottingham.
Right, right, yeah.
Marketing.
Yeah, well, okay, so I'll work on that next year, or we
They
will work
were.
on that next year, whoever's.
Gun Club
Right,
was, I don't think we need that.
But
No,
I
because
think,
they
I think that's a
come-
conversation we need to start early,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
given the number of meetings.
This might be a little early now, though.
No, but
Let's
probably,
wait until September,
no, I was gonna say January.
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 January. Okay.
When people want to go outside.
Yeah.
When people are excited,
Um,
yeah.
Well, you mean sections.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna table that then for now. And we'll remember these things, and we'll talk about it next year. I do quickly want to say, one of the things I have on my to-do is to write a very thanking letter to Willis and Roehampton. Not just for the mulch, because they do pay for that each year, but Dan Kavanaugh and one of his guys were just huge helps. And they were the first working on it, and they were the last to be, they were the last done. So I'm gonna write a letter to the school expressing that as well.
They hope that they have the alumni weekend just a couple weeks away. too.
Oh, I know.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so small business building, but small business permitting guide. Is there anything to?
So,
It's on the website.
Da-da-da. Oh, yeah, so the printing it off though, that's what we're
Exactly.
talking about.
So,
It looks good, by the
we
way.
have the digital version, hard copies you can print out. Trying to create something like this, but finished size of 8.5 by 11. I went ahead and got quotes from a couple different printing people in the area to get, you know, a sense of what the cost would be. And it's pretty expensive to do, and
Mhm.
we don't have any money in the planning department or for this type of printing. So there was really just a thought of like, if we have a discussion about how we can get it printed, if there's a need to print it. If we were to print it, you know, who would be, where would we be, you know, the city clerk, the chamber, banks, like how many copies?
Right.
You know, so there's a lot to discuss.
Let me share a couple thoughts here. Granted, I work for a computer company, so I'm into technology. With the technology that we have today, coupled with the fact that items in that thing could change, I'm not so sure that we really need to print it off. I would like to see there be an option for a print-on-demand capability. So if someone wanted a printed copy, they could pay $5 and have it be printed off for them. Whether it be like this, or whether it be saddle stitched, or something like that. What we could do is find a local printer and say, okay, can we just set this up with you? If on an as-needed basis, we could say, print 10 of these, and you'll charge us X amount per. And that cost would be covered by the person who wants the guide. And I'm thinking that would be few and far between, because everyone uses PDFs now, everyone has. That way, if something in there changes, it's not a big deal. If you've got 50 of these or 100 of these printed off, something changes, that's not an accurate document anymore.
I think it's worth to have a small number printed for the planning department, for the occasions when someone meets you, you can just hand it to them as opposed to, but I agree with, you know, the gist of what Josh is saying. I had thought that maybe if you were gonna go into printing, and I don't think you need to do this, but instead of printing the document, you just print a card with the various links to give to the person. Sometimes it's nice to have a takeaway.
Right.
But, you know, you don't want to overflow. But if you had the card that said, you know, East Hampton, you know, the chamber website, the PDF link, this and that, it might be just enough.
That's a good idea.
If people are, if they're in a small business permitting, for whatever reason, they're savvy enough to, they just need some help.
Right.
You know.
And that's easy enough to do. Doing a little card like that with all the
I think that's good.
links.
I just want to make sure we don't miss a little bit of marketing opportunity here and that. I mean, we've been in existence, EDIC, for 25 years.
Yeah.
People, from the first meeting we ever had, people were asking for something like this. I think it's a big deal that we have it, and something to be said for having them out where people will see them, take them, some sort of initial splash. I think what you two are talking about is great as ongoing, but I'm wondering if somebody, some group, whatever's gotta really make a splash and take some kudos for putting this together in the first place. And the splash that goes out that says, hey, look what we have here in East Hampton. How many other communities have one of these? Maybe we're behind the curve, I don't know that, but I don't know. I would make some sort of splash that this document even exists. And I wouldn't mind, I don't know how quickly stuff in here is gonna change, but I'd love having a stack of these on the counter at the bank for people to pick up.
What kind of money are we talking about?
So it looks like if we were to do it all in black and white with black and white cover and not a heavy cover, you're looking at $1 a piece with folding and binding. If we had a heavyweight cover and the cover was in color, but the rest was black and white, we're looking about $3 a piece. And if we were to do it all in color, it's like $10.
Yeah, you-
$10.
When you say a piece, you're talking a page or the product?
For one.
$3 for
Finished
this.
product.
And what kind of binding?
And that's
So
for,
50
and
of them
that's
would be
at
$150.
that's at the quantity of 50 to 50. There might be price breaks if we wanted to order 500. We might see that.
That was for 50?
And the internal color you're referring to is just the headings here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we would obviously format it, change it, if we're gonna do it black and white on the inside, we would change the
$150
formatting a little bit. so-
Can you- Can you legally sell advertising on this? Because there you go. You get you get the two banks and you get David and some Williston and you get $1,000 in advertising.
I mean, I
I
don't
would
know what we
suggest you go to
can,
the
I don't know
smaller
what we,
businesses.
I don't know that what we can do, but if.
Good point.
And they all only up 25, 50.
Great idea. And get a business card size
Yeah.
ad.
Exactly, and say,
Yeah,
Great idea.
this,
Good idea.
this,
Get the
this-
banks out of it.
you know what I mean? No, but you know what I mean, it's like, I would throw $100 at that.
It's a
easy.
great idea if you have the small businesses and
Well,
they can get
it's
a
a small
business.
business product, so.
Exactly.
Right.
Then you
Yeah.
got a business card size ad, or whatever size is right. Fill the page, $100 a piece, you got $1,000 in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and actually, that sounds pretty cheap to me. I
Yeah.
get stuff printed all the time, and it's a great price.
yeah.
But I think to do it right, Jamie, I think it's color, it's
Color.
bound, it's color
Yeah.
inside. I think you want this document to pop.
Yeah.
Black and white's just not gonna do it. Maybe subsequent, it could be okay, but out of the gate, I think this thing pops.
Is the $3 one, is it 8.5 by 11 or the,
It's it's 11 by 17 folded saddle
so
stitch.
it's this side, this
Yeah.
size?
Um,
Because we could do it that size, 8.5 by 11 full.
So it's just that the font is, I mean, I can read
Too
it,
small,
but
yeah.
most
Yeah,
of it
it's
is.
real small.
No, that's the way.
Well, okay, so.
I like
who
you.
should
We're trying to
we,
make this a,
I like Casey's idea.
who wants to drive this bus?
I do too.
um,
Who wants to
Yeah,
drive
we're
this
talking
bus?
well, I mean, I have to
$1,000.
look into, I know that
Bunch of
generally,
people do 50. and a
anything that
bunch of
gets
people do
donated to
100.
the city
Yeah.
goes to general fund revenues. And so it's still a matter of, we don't have it in the budget.
Right.
So we may not be able to collect money and
Earmark it.
and earmark it for printing.
As you research it, will you also consider or ask if we can consider the account that we have?
Well, so I was gonna say, so we do have the
Yeah.
donation account for EDIC, so if the EDIC were,
How much do we have in there?
Heck, the what?
I think
Probably
there's like
nothing.
zero in
We
there right
used it for the.
That's not helpful.
Well, no, we used it for the mulch.
now.
So we could potentially be the collector of the funds and then pay to have it printed?
Right, so if the EDIC
Oh.
was, if we collected, if the EDIC collects the funds and the EDIC's printing, and I think it would be, I would have to figure out, I don't know if we can sell the back, what would it cost to, if we could sell the back page, or we just say, the back page printing, the printing of this guy was paid for by these businesses,
Right, I
so-
think if you just listed them and got away from logos, because logos and stuff are gonna have, it's gonna have a lot
Cost,
more
yeah.
color and cost.
But if you had a listing on the back,
Right.
we thank our benefactors. for
Yeah,
that.
so subsequently I added another page to
Yeah.
the back cover, but we can do whatever on the back cover.
Yeah, why don't you look into that if you can?
I mean, I know that Cultural Chaos is selling vendor, their website has a list
Oh,
of
yeah.
sponsors and, but I'm not sure how that,
Can you find out by our next meeting?
I'll look into it.
Great, thank you.
So I'm thinking about the people who are going to use this guide, which are people opening small businesses. And typically they will go to the city website, which I think we should have a PDF version available for print there. And then probably they also approach the chamber, so maybe we could have it on our website.
Yes, that's my intent.
You'd have,
Yep,
yeah, so.
I haven't done it yet, that's my intent.
Sweet,
Yeah.
okay.
Or I guess the other use, Clay, would be small businesses looking to expand or change their dynamic of their business, add some feature to their existing business that might cause them to go through a permit. At what point do you change your business enough to require you to have to bring other stuff up to code or what have you? So, not necessarily exclusively just new businesses coming to town, but existing businesses looking to change their model or whatever.
Yeah. Good, okay. Great, okay, so we
Great job.
can go on to the next time.
Um,
Anything more on the business guide, small business guide?
It's beautiful.
Okay,
Great
it's very
job,
good.
Jamie.
No, but I like Tom's idea that to have it,
Yeah, no,
I was at the bank years ago, and I was like, I want to tell her, at this point, the multifamily that I lived in was being foreclosed on. And we were gonna have to move, and we were saving to buy our own place. And she says, I know what you make, you can afford a mortgage. and I was like, we can, with our debt? And she's like, yeah. So it's like, you don't know
Right.
Until, and so it's like if it's a seed, if it's, you know,
Yeah.
someone at the bank, like, well, I always thought I'd do this, but I don't know, when you see a seed at the bank and you walk away,
It's a
you're
good
like,
idea.
Oh.
Yeah.
maybe I can do this.
Good idea.
And I guess if you talk about marketing, you know, marketing in our own community is easy. It's sometimes it's like shooting ducks out of a barrel, but what about marketing beyond? So,
Yes.
you know, would I stick some of these in our Northampton and Southampton
Sure.
branches?
Maybe.
There you go.
Duh.
And the same thing applies for
Maybe.
the, you know, if you're gonna do something in Northampton, it's basically the same steps.
Right,
You know,
right.
Mhm.
who do I have to see, what am I required?
But I guess my point was maybe there's a business thinking about relocation.
Yeah.
Sure,
True, true.
Put them in real estate
And
offices.
Yep,
We
exactly.
as the chamber are at events, and we have our table or this, that, and the other, and we have our directory and have a few of these, I think that would be really good.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I know from, you know, it'd be very helpful to have a stack in the planning department.
Yes.
and-
Yep.
And then, well, you just shake the donation jar.
Yeah.
You got it free.
Right.
Well, good, okay,
So I think the second
this is
base of
good.
this job, sorry, I think the second base of this is what you and Dave were talking about. Now you know, so say you're 6 months into this, now you stop printing them, and now you give
Yeah.
people a link to where they
Yeah.
go print their own or whatever.
Yeah.
So what's the right number?
Well, I mean, I would say, let's first find out if we can do the advertising. Because it's not gonna fly
Yeah.
if we don't have any advertising. So, I mean, let's come next
Well-
month prepared. If we can do it, then we'll make a decision to how many to make. I wouldn't say more than.
Well, you might be able to approach BCA plus too, because frankly, I mean, most of the artists are small business people.
That's true.
So they might be able to,
I
Fund it too.
I would like to make this as easy as
Yes.
possible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ideally, it would be as simple as going to, I don't know, one bank.
Yes.
Right. I agree.
I hear you.
no, but I'm saying for BCA plus to actually
You and
fund
everybody
it.
else's side of the Connecticut River
Yeah.
goes that
Yeah.
way. But the beauty of Casey's idea is that you have small
Small
businesses
business.
supporting small business.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like.
You know, I
the
kind of like the feel of that, is
Mhm.
that if arts folks or small
Mhm.
businesses welcome.
But how much do you think you might ask the small businesses?
$25-50?
Yeah.
I think more 15-25 bucks.
Okay.
I mean.
If you're just
Well,
gonna do a list
I just
on
been,
that.
I just been involved in some things at Riverside,
Yeah.
where when we asked the Riverside tenants, and you think that they'd be on board, and they are until,
Yeah.
and they usually participate, but it's less than you think, so all I'm just saying is,
Well, 25.
right, I mean,
$25.
Well,
you know.
if you print out 300 and you ask for $20, you don't need that many.
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
so that's,
Yeah.
just keep in mind, we're not asking
Yeah.
for huge.
Well, that was the other reason why I was
amount of
getting at that,
Yeah.
is get more people.
Yeah.
But I think, Jamie, the request to you is, can we do this?
Yeah.
I think once we find out we can,
Then we figure out
it's gonna be
how.
our jobs.
Yeah.
We'll figure out how.
I think it's gonna be our jobs to go ahead and solicit that from people
Well,
and have
yeah.
their name on
The
the
other thing
document.
is, one way or another, you'll have $300,
Yeah.
but do your way first, and
Yeah.
if the way doesn't, then we'll talk again.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna look at, we don't have
They don't have funds.
We don't
No,
have
no,
the funds.
that's-
and-
that's
You will
enough.
have
We already have it.
$300 one way or another.
You'll get it.
Yeah, you get it.
We'll collect
You know what I'm
it.
getting at?
We'll collect
Okay.
it.
And it'll be funded through,
I won't have my name on the back of it, but you'll have $300 one way or another.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
you'll
know,
get
this is,
it.
you believe in deja vu? We had this discussion a year and a half ago about the mulch.
Yeah.
We'll cover it, let's go for it, it'll happen.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Okay.
We'll get it.
All right.
So 100 minimum is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100 minimum.
Yeah, yeah.
That way, that gives you a direction.
Yeah.
Now, she can't start the ordering until we know the money's there.
Right.
Right.
So,
It's there one way or another.
Yeah, I'd order them. Oh, well, no, I guess the only reason we have to hold off is because we might have that last page printed with donors.
Right,
Yes,
right,
exactly,
right.
exactly.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, at the next meeting, we will make the final decisions as to
Yep.
how we're gonna go about
That's
it.
exciting.
Okay?
Thank
Great
you.
job. Great
I
job.
thought you were talking 1,000.
Do you give your
Yeah,
name
I know.
author and buy somewhere on here?
$3 each.
Yes.
Right here.
Peanuts, yeah.
Acknowledgements?
Any acknowledgements?
Nice, good. That's what it should be.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is new liquor licenses. Like that segue?
I want one for my house.
I don't need one. I'm not sure why I had it, just to discuss there are 8 new ones, right?
yeah,
Did we get them? Have they been approved?
yeah,
It went to one branch of the state
Right,
legislature, it still has to go through the.
So we have one more step.
Is Northampton in the same boat? The Senate approved, but they have to go to another branch? Northampton approved 4 of them.
No, I think it came back to Northampton.
So they have their 4 new ones?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So we have one more step in the process.
Mhm.
I think we should discuss an idea of what we think is appropriate and pass that along to the licensing board. Because the licensing board is 3 people, and it's a hard decision on their end.
Yeah.
And I think that as, you know, a group that has an idea about what growth is and what we should put together an idea that what businesses fall under parameters. Not saying it's set in stone, but this is what we see as being helpful with these licenses. Only because I think that there's gonna be a hair salon that's looking for one.
To serve wine to clients.
Yes.
As they come in.
No, yeah, just to back up for a minute, I just have one
These are
question.
full licenses, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question.
Full
We have
or-
8 liquor licenses, which is the full bowl?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to
Oh.
clarify.
I thought it's not beer and wine.
Yeah, no, I think.
Yeah.
I thought that
It was-
the original request was,
Oh, originally it was
it was like 5 and 3 or something.
split, and
Oh.
then they decided,
They just go for
Full,
full for
full,
all 8,
full.
and then it can be on the licensing board to condition it
Yeah.
if they need to, or they can swap out.
yeah.
Let me ask you another
Casey-
question, if someone, so say like the salon, I mean, I've seen salons where they'll serve you a glass of wine, where they don't charge you for it.
Right.
Do you still need the license if you're not charging for it?
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need one day.
Yeah.
What, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you need something.
You need, if you are giving any sort of alcohol to people who don't live in your residence, it's considered a sale, even if it's been given away, because it's a state, the state has it's in one of their, it's a statute that says like possession is de facto.
Isn't it because
Is that
of,
because it's
isn't it
public
because
though?
of, it's
Yeah.
a public,
Because
it's
it's
not a
public, yeah.
private
It's like a-
party.
I don't have to worry about my
Yeah.
Christmas party.
Because
Right,
we-
right,
No,
right,
it's
it's for a public
Okay.
place,
Right,
it's public
and anybody
accommodation.
can come,
So when we
or
have- we-
if you're selling tickets.
We have
that-
events at the bank, and we typically haven't, I believe, haven't had to permit them because they were invitation and we
Yes.
weren't charging.
Correct.
So it's not,
And
it's
you
not.
probably had a caterer with.
Correct.
Yes.
With
And
their
that
own
changes.
alcohol license.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, it's gotta, they've got to have some, the bartender
They-
has to be,
They have to.
yeah.
They take care of it for you.
No,
probably
because it's
even
no
if-
different than your house party.
Mm.
It's no different, it's not open to the public. It was by invitation,
Yeah, it's
by invitation,
Yeah.
and we
Right.
weren't charging anything.
So if it's an invitation, it's not an open event,
Correct.
and that's
Correct.
just.
Invitation of 350 of our closest
See,
friends.
Let's get back to what.
In general, in general, I'm in favor of loosening the licensing laws. However, when I saw that there was 8, and no one in East Hampton, I was like, we gotta have some idea what's going on here, because,
Yeah.
well, I see 8 licenses being approved, but not 8 establishments coming from it. So you're gonna have, not quite a pocket license, but you're gonna have a dilution.
I think that's what.
And, you know, I'm not necessarily worried about the value of the liquor license, but I'm like, if it's not being used, what's the point? And so I
Because it
think.
can be used.
Well, and that would fall into the category of our recommendations.
Right,
are
that's what I'm getting at, yeah.
that this is not a license intended for future use.
No, it's
This
for
is-
a new business.
This
or
is for a
startup.
business which is going through the process
Yeah.
of getting permitted. And
Well-
because the big thing with the license is, you secure that before you do any of your other business.
Sure.
business,
Mhm.
Right, because then you say you talk about a lease, you
Yeah.
negotiate a lease, you get all the contracts, you do this, and then you don't get the license, so
Right.
you begin with the license.
Right.
Um,
And I don't,
But if we had a
in my
certain
mind,
amount, if we had a certain amount okayed, would that make that, I mean, say like we have like 4 people right now that have plans for a business, so that covers 4 of those. Is there a way that we can say, okay, you are not gonna grab the other 4 now, but at least say that the next 2 or 3 or 4 others that want to come in have a much better chance of getting it? Because,
I think it's just 8 beyond what the quota allows us, not including the other over quota.
right, so then it's
It's
not
in
automatically
addition
being
to.
granted, we
They're-
just
they're
know we
not-
can
they
go
have-
up to 8 more.
Right, they haven't been
Okay.
granted,
Okay.
they're they still have
Go
to,
through
if you
the
want, if
process.
you want one of the new licenses, you still have to go before
The
the
license.
local licensing board,
Yeah.
and you still have, you need their
Look at the
approval, and then
state.
you need the state licensing
Okay.
board approval, you still.
Well, I
need-
don't see a problem with that then, as long as we can get up to 8 more.
Right, but
To Casey's point.
that
What's I'm asking, what is it?
people are gonna come out of the woodwork and say, I want a license for, you know, my fringe business,
Oh,
my,
okay.
a different business.
Gas station.
And, well, just, you know.
Laundromat.
Laundromat.
They do that in Boston.
But so, okay, we're gonna be an art gallery
Yeah,
that has an all alcohol license.
yeah.
We have openings once a month,
That's a good point.
and we see this kind of traffic, you know, what if,
Well, it's
you know,
like, you
That's
know,
not generating
it's like in-
economic
in-
development.
yeah, exactly, so that's,
Yeah.
that's.
You need somebody, you're
that's
talking
the-
about,
That's the thing, it's like we.
somebody's open every night.
If we come up with a little bit of a dialogue, turn this to the,
How do we advise?
the licensing board, and we say, we'd like to see 4 of those go to
Consistent.
you know, new businesses that have at least 40 seats.
Mhm.
Or something
You
like
know,
that, yeah.
that are open at least 5 days a week.
Right.
You know, some sort of just an umbrella of recommendation. You know, just, I was fighting for one for the Indian restaurant that ended up getting one. And who'd have thought that that's not really a great return for economic development? They could have just been fine with a beer and wine license.
Right.
You know, and in the meantime, Riffs did without for a year plus.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was fine for me, I knew it was in the discussion, it was fine, but, you know, the other people who followed with going through the legislation over quotas, took them a while to get what was existing, so, you know, I just hate to see them all get snapped up by,
Hair salon or.
yeah,
But it's
just,
it's a good point,
Yeah.
try to have them be in and of themselves some sort of economic generator.
right.
Yes.
Right.
We just know that
Driving
the Keystone, is that what it's being called?
Yep.
300,000 square feet, and I know the park, can't remember what they're calling it,
Food engine.
the food engine?
In their park?
There's-
Community food engine.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I
Okay,
don't know.
how big is that place? But
It's huge.
It's like 10,000 square
Yeah,
feet.
it's giant.
Yeah.
It's, have you been
No.
in? Really?
So, oh, are we gonna get to do a tour?
There you go.
But you know what I mean?
They're applying, yeah.
So they're applying for one, and that would fit under the category of, you know, what if they got snapped up and someone like this didn't get one?
Right.
You know,
Right.
so, but that's in Mill 180.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think this is
Yes.
a really good idea. I don't think that necessarily for us just to start stabbing at it right now in here, I think we'll spend a lot of time talking without getting much done. What I would suggest, or what I would request, is that 1 or 2 of us come up with some guidelines, not as to what we feel, but guidelines as to how to structure the conversation. And then the next time, our next meetings, we can really hash it out. This-
Yeah.
Okay, do you two want
Sure.
to put together some guidelines as to how our discussion should go?
Yeah.
And then, actually, I don't even need any books for that.
I think it might make sense if they were to start drafting a whole letter on
Yes.
behalf of the
Right.
EDIC.
Totally.
To
Yeah.
the board that says this is what we're thinking, and
Yeah.
then they can present that draft letter
Totally.
to the group next week.
And then we can
that
have
will- that
discussions
will give the
to,
framework as to whether or not.
let's tweak this way, tweak
Yeah,
that
or
that
add
way.
it, add or take
Good.
away, whatever.
But I think it stays within our purview if we couch this as trying to use those licenses as economic generators, as you
Mhm.
described.
Exactly.
That somebody might, you know, if I was on a licensing board, I might say, why the hell is EDIC weighing in on this?
Yeah.
Because you can use these licenses to be an
Generate.
economic
Yeah.
generator.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
I
think,
would also-
I think we have to be proactive in Springfield. I mean, I think that's why you're looking at all this stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll also note that, the licenses come from the licensing commission at the state and local level, but you still need zoning approval from the planning board
Mhm.
generally, some sort of
Mhm.
planning. So most of the existing businesses, if you have a hair salon already, and now you wanna add alcohol to it.
Does your zoning,
They won't, they can get the license, but they won't be able to act on it until they get their zoning approval.
Yeah.
Because the nature of their business is now being substantially changed.
Yeah.
Well, good. Okay, so this is a good
Yeah.
framework for us. And that would definitely be near the top of the list, the next day, or at the top of the list. Any update on the local business buyer card, or you want to just table it until you have more to tell us?
Yeah, no.
Letter.
did you like that? Yes. I
Yes.
don't know if everyone here at the table got it, but,
I didn't.
but
Yeah.
a lot of folks have gotten it.
I did.
The board has approved us to go forward with the gift card. It's going to be, basically, it's the same program that Northampton is using, it's the same company, Circuit. Notification has gone out to everyone that I could get an address for, via email, 2 emails, and this letter here.
Newsletter.
And, yeah, and the newsletter, and then, and I've already I'm started getting, interest, I've gotten questionnaires back, so,
Good.
about 15 maybe so far.
Who's the audience you sent it to?
I sent it to members, I sent it to, we have a mailing list that isn't necessarily members, our newsletter list, sorry?
Did you guys?
Yeah. But
Yeah, you guys.
it's a huge, I'm very excited about it, it's a huge effort,
Yeah.
but I think it's gonna be, a winner for everyone.
Like this, it's another
Yeah.
thing this
Yeah.
group can cross off its bucket list, because we've had that on a bucket list for a long time.
Yeah, so has the chamber, so I'm really
Yeah.
excited.
Cool.
And, you know, you do need to be a member to participate, but I think we already had last Friday somebody come in wanting to buy gift cards.
Yeah,
And
So
so
that's-
this could bring you new members as well.
yes.
Yeah,
Win-win.
hopefully,
Love it. Nice job.
No, right, that'll
thanks.
spring me to be a member, because I get to see the Williston crowd
Yeah.
do it. Now I can get the kids without having to go through the
Yeah.
Billy Bucks or whatever.
Billy Bucks, yeah, that's right.
Button bucks.
Button
And
bucks.
we're hoping, well, maybe I shouldn't put that out there yet, but
Okay.
we'll wait for this.
Kicks me on the other thing, okay, great. I'm just gonna keep that on the agenda, just.
Please
so-
do, because as time goes on, you know, I'll have more to report, but it's, people are really, I'm getting calls every day, and
Great.
emails.
Mill tours. We're gonna have some tours to the mills?
When?
Well, it's my idea, but, you know, I didn't know anything about it.
I think it's a really good idea.
I do too.
And not just the ones that have breweries, I think we
Yeah.
should see a lot.
We should end with the ones that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or Fort Hill.
Can you poke around with it on that?
Yeah, I'm out straight for a couple more weeks, but I can certainly fit it in, you know.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with time, but I'm losing my stuff.
Is the music starting to play faster, is that what's going on?
Yes.
It might be me.
Last thing, announcement is, I've decided I don't want to be head anymore.
Uh-oh.
I will stay in this group, but I think, I've done this for over 2 years as the chair. And I'm just starting to get all out, you know, with a lot of other things going on. So I'm thinking probably like September timeframe. I think we should have a new leader by then. So, and I will, as I said, I will still stay part of the EDSA. I'll still keep coming every month. But I would like someone else to. And if none of us want to do it, this is impetus to get someone else in who feel comfortable doing it. Okay. So I guess if I have to set a date, I'll say September will be my last meeting as chair.
Just for a little historical perspective, there's only been 3 since we've been in existence.
Really?
To the best of my knowledge.
Huh?
Dave, am I right? Dave, you've been here from the beginning.
Yeah, I just wanna know if it's the same 3.
There's been 3. 3 since I've been here.
No, just me and Mike Burley.
Weren't you chair when I started?
Might have been, but I was from the beginning,
Oh.
to the best of my knowledge. So I was like 1995 to 2000 and something. or
Yeah.
Did Mike take over for you?
Mike took over from me.
Well, I took over from Mike.
Right, there's been 3
So I'm the
since.
third.
There's not like a term limit?
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
Well, okay, so how long was Mike part of it?
I propose
How long
that
Mike
they,
be it?
Set a
Gosh, I
term.
don't remember, maybe 5 years,
Okay.
maybe more,
Fine.
maybe 5.
Come on, you can hang it a little longer.
No, turn is good.
No,
Yeah, I think a term is good.
Yeah.
Term limits.
Yeah, September will give enough time for some of the new guys to maybe decide to.
I'm such a bad administrator.
No, I'm already on so many boards.
I remember that letter, it's like, oh yeah, it's on my desk.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, it's been 3 from the beginning. I wanna say we came in '92, maybe.
I just,
I'll stick my head tomorrow.
Sorry?
I'll stick my head in work.
Oh,
See if I'm-
Just to reference, other boards have somewhere between every year they have elections to lifetime appointments. Like-
Oh, there we go.
So,
Well, luckily my life lasted longer than my appointment. But yeah, our problem was we didn't have enough people to have that go around.
Yeah.
You know, such a small group.
Okay.
Well, it's fair, I think we have time to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, thank you guys.
September will be here tomorrow.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Anyone have anything else? Okay. We will adjourn.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.